Hi, I'm Josh. Welcome to a new video, and today I'll be talking about one of the most commented scenes, series, and characters of the year, which is the scene where Eddie Munson plays Master of Puppets during the final episode of Stranger Things Season 4. Now, I haven't watched the season. Don't think I will anytime soon because I don't have that much time, but I did watch the episode just because of the scene, and I won't be doing a cinematic analysis or anything. I'll do this from a musical point of view, focusing on what this scene has meant for both the guitar, metal, and music world in general. Cause I believe it's one of the coolest moments to happen for them in a while, at least since I've been a part of them. So let's start talking about how the guitar world got involved with Stranger Things. Everything starts with the trailer of Season 4. The very first one where we can see Eddie playing guitar in the Upside Down. Now, when it released, I don't think many people cared about that. But when the season came out, everyone fell in love with Eddie, and some curious guitarist probably thought, what song is he playing there? This started a wave of videos, theories, comments, trying to figure out what song was he playing. I mean, it's been some boring times for the internet guitar world, and this was something that finally brought some excitement for us. So, we got ourselves to work. It didn't take much for everyone to start throwing their own guesses. There were many, from Dio to Ozzy to probably the most popular ones being Europe's The Final Countdown and Metallica's Master of Puppets. My vote was for Master of Puppets, because I do think it fitted very well what he was playing there, and also because of my huge love for Metallica. Because I would have loved to see my biggest influence in Stranger Things. I'll leave the video that pretty much made this a thing in the description below, because I think it's super worth checking. And you can also see a lot of the theories and guesses in the comments, which is super fun. But this was all when the first part of the season came out, and the scene didn't appear on it. So now we have to wait for the second part to see if we will get an answer. And with it, in one of the coolest, most exciting scenes I've seen in a while. Cause as a metalhead, I cannot avoid being excited about having, in my opinion, the greatest metal song ever written in undeniably the biggest show in the world right now. But it made me wonder something. Was Master of Puppets intended to be in the series since the very beginning? I thought it wasn't. Like, the first time I saw it, I thought they decided to include the song after seeing all the excitement the guitar community had built around it. Supported by the fact that Joseph Quinn is not playing the song correctly. I mean, he definitely knows how to, but in those scenes, he's playing it wrong. Which is why we were not sure if he was actually playing Master of Puppets or not. And they also didn't put super close shots of him playing guitar or for long periods. So because of all this, I thought Master of Puppets was not planned to be in the series when the trailer came out, but rather something they decided later. But no, it seems like I was wrong, cause according to what Metallica said, it seems like that was the plan since the beginning. Now, there's a lot of details that make this scene way cooler. One that played an essential part in the search for what song was he playing was the date all the songs proposed came out around. Cause the season takes place around spring break 1986, so we could only take into account songs released before late March that year. The thing is, The Final Countdown came out in February, more than enough time for Eddie to learn it. But Master of Puppets came out in March 3, meaning he had like 2 weeks to learn the song, which is possible, especially if you're already used to playing metal, which he definitely does. But we also gotta put ourselves in his shoes. I mean, the guy has a busy life. And since the only way to learn it back then was by ear, I think it was a very complicated task, but definitely possible, for sure. But even with that, I do think it's a coincidence that the song fitted so perfectly with the time the series takes place in. Cause I'm sorry, but they don't seem to pay much attention to those kinds of details. Now there's another thing. The parts we hear Eddie play, not the ones of the actual song, you know, were all recorded by Ty Trujillo, the son of Robert Trujillo, the bassist of Metallica. We're not hearing Joseph Quinn actually play. It's all being played by Ty Trujillo. And he's also playing Master of Puppets wrong. Cause, and I'll put the tabs over here, he's not playing 3-2-1-0 at the end of the riff, which is the correct way. He's instead playing 3-2-0-0, which is incorrect. But I think that was definitely intentional, cause how can Robert Trujillo's son play it wrong? it makes no sense. But if we put ourselves in the context of the series, then it makes sense, because it's really hard telling that the riff ends with 3210 instead of 3200. It's played at high speed with distortion and palm muted. So even back then, only guitarists with incredible ear were able to tell the difference. Once again, take into account that the only way to learn it back then was straight out of the album. And maybe your turntable didn't have such good audio, making it even harder. Also, the Damaged Inc. tour had not started yet, so Eddie had no chance to see how Metallica played Master of Puppets live, and even if he had, it would have been super hard for him to tell watching it live. To make this even funnier, in the Master of Puppets tab book, released more than 2 years after the album, the tabs have the same mistake in the riff, showing that a huge amount of guitarists were playing Master of Puppets wrong around the time, or at least that section of it. And this book will be responsible for generations of guitar players learning to play this song incorrectly. For over 20 years, people were learning it to play this way. It was thanks to YouTube and the internet that guitarists started noticing their mistake. But there's lots of guitar players who've played Master Puppets wrong for years, me included. When I learned to play the song, I learned it the wrong way. It was more than 2 years after I did that I saw a video commenting on the topic. I like to think that's not happening as much nowadays, but there's definitely still a lot of people out there who play Master of Puppets the same way Eddie or Ty actually did in the scene. Now, this scene is undeniably having and will continue to have a big impact on the guitar, metal and music world. I'm sure there's thousands of people around the world learning to play guitar because of it, and while I hope they learn to play Master of Puppets the correct way, it makes me really glad knowing there's a whole wave of new guitarists coming. It's rare that something so big happens with the potential to get so many people into guitar. With how insanely huge Stranger Things is, I'm sure that's gonna happen. And I can also say the same for people getting into metal. I myself got into metal thanks to an ad playing Master of Puppets when Metallica came here. And that got me into possibly my favorite band ever. So I can only picture how many people are just learning about Master of Puppets, loving it so much that they're gonna continue checking this stuff. More stuff from Metallica, more heavier music. And you know, some people forget about it, but during season 2, there's a scene where Billy is getting ready for something, where the Four Horsemen plays for like a minute. That was my favorite moment of season 2, cause it was amazing listening to such a thrash metal classic in such a big show. And I've seen a bunch of people saying such a minor scene got them into metal. So imagine the tons of people getting into it right now thanks to the Master of Puppets scene. And as Metallica themselves said, if they like it, chances are they'll find plenty other songs to get into. Diving into more bands, genres, albums. It's exciting. It's super exciting. I'm all for it because I freaking hate when people try to gatekeep metal. Once again, I'm with Metallica. Everyone is welcomed here, and the more people the better. It's ironic, cause metal elitists will be like, oh, I miss the days when metal was the biggest genre, and then proceed to gatekeep it and hate everything released after the 2000s. Freaking hate it. So please feel welcome in the metal community. We appreciate you all. The more people the better. Luckily, I'm not the only one who thinks like this, and thanks to bands like Metallica having such a mindset, I think there's a lot of positivity going around the metal community right now. For the first time in decades, it seems like the negative side of it is not overshadowing the positive one. So let's try to keep it like that. I'm really happy with this scene, and I'm definitely thankful it exists. Having almost a 40 years old metal song in the biggest charts in the world right now is historic. And it definitely shows the power Stranger Things has, cause first, it's a metal song, the first we've seen in charts in ages, and again, is a 36-year-old one. Something similar happened with Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush, though I think in that case it was a little easier because it's a way more poppy and catchy track than freaking Master of Puppets. I find it fascinating, and it makes me so happy how many people are getting to enjoy what's, again in my opinion, the greatest metal song ever. So thank you, Eddie. Thank you so much. And yeah, as always, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. Don't forget to check my first album, Diamonds, if you haven't yet. It's available everywhere, but you'll have the Spotify link in the description for you to go check it. And I really appreciate it if you do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I've been waiting for years, hoping there's still a chance that you'll come visiting someday. Don't care if the guns are rusty, the bullet's black, you can still pretend